Hey everyone, Internet PCS book reader here. Today I want to talk about The Empire of Pain, The Secret History of the Sackler Dynasty by Patrick Radden Keefe. The Sackler family, if you don't know, is the people who own Purdue Pharma and later on known as Mundi Pharma. They are such a big family that has been putting their name across the globe in museums and schools in New York, Harvard, Oxford, Louvre, and Beijing, just to name a few. Everywhere there is a building or a place named after the Sackler family. This family will go on to become either one of the main reason or part of the blame why we all kinda know that the big pharma are not to be trusted and surgeons will try to push for surgery. This family is also part of the reason why if you go to America, every ad ever is ad about medicine. It's also the reason why there is a bad image attached to generic drugs because of their lower price. It's because of their misinformation marketing. And not only that, Purdue, their drug company, is actually a company that founded OxyContin, a painkiller that is heavily pushed even towards young athletes at some point. Oh, you twisted your ankle. Have some OxyContin. The drug appeared as one of the major character arc in my top of the book I read from 2023, Demon Copperhead, where doctors are giving the drug to high school students to treat their injuries. In the advertisement, the drug was heralded as a drug with little side effects, and it got so popular that at its height, from this drug alone, Purdue generates about $35 billion in revenue. Of course, as many people have realized from hearing the word painkiller, the little side effects are a bunch of lies from Purdue. But by the time people realized it, there were a plague of opioid addiction in the United States. It got so bad that at some point, in the line of gun addicts, there were more people who died from painkiller addiction than gunshot wounds. The book tries to tackle the history and founding of the Sackler Dynasty, how it came from a small family business to one of the largest forces of capitalism and the leading cause of opioid epidemic. The family starts in 1904 when Isaac and Sophie Sackler ran as immigrants into America, escaping the Spanish Inquisition. They opened a small store named the Sackler Bros, and while they did not manage to get an education on their own with Sophie never fully learning English, they did manage to put their three kids into school. This was the rise of Arthur Sackler, the oldest brother of the three who got into Erasmus at the age of 12. Since early, he's been busy hustling even at school, persuading the school to pay him some commission if he'll get advertisement on their school magazine. He even add ads to the school program that every student will need so they knew which class to go to. He did so many things. Eventually, two of his younger brothers Morty and Ray joined in and they basically let any ads in, even cigarettes ads that are aimed for the students. A mindset that the family will inherit and escalate to the opioid crisis, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Even as a kid, Arthur looked up to the founding father of America, wanting to be part of a great American lineage like Hamilton or Burr, but despite finding success at school, his family fortune is declining. His father's store sales gone down, his investment in real estate and other stores gone sour. Isaac even had to sell his own grocery store and work as a store clerk for other stores to pay the bill. This might have fueled Arthur's own insecurities and why he does what he did at school. After the Great Depression hit in 1929, Isaac lost everything further, so Arthur put himself to medical school using his own hard work and graduated to become a doctor at NYU Medical School. Here he saw how much hierarchy worked in a hospital. The head surgeon at the time was old enough to be rightfully called senile, and he endangered every patient under his care by forgetting basic things like hygiene, like washing hands. Enough has died under his hand that they called the professor the angel of death behind his back. Arthur showed signs of a good conscience one time by telling a mother to not undergo surgery while still trying to keep his job. The mother and the family trusted the professor more since, they're just common people, and Arthur didn't tell them everything. And as a result, they went under the surgery and the mother died. But still it showed that at this point he kinda still is able to show some compassion. But despite having a secure job as a doctor, he's still insecure about his financial situation, so he got a part-time job with a German pharmaceutical company called Schering. We are also introduced to Marietta Lutz, a female doctor who at that time is considered a medical miracle, a woman who instead of being in the kitchen but in a hospital where people work. And not only that, she came from Germany in 1945, just a few blinks after Hitler did himself in the bunker in Germany. So she had difficulties making friends except for the Sackler brothers who have a few experiences themselves from being seen as an immigrant outsider. Thanks to Arthur, the brother eventually found work at the Creedmoor Psychiatric Center, an asylum that at that time was booming because of a lack of understanding on mental health, which at that time still followed the now outdated Greek teaching of humor. The place, for lack of a better word, kind of feel like prison facility. It even have some of the treatments that at that time was done despite the lack of understanding of what actually they did, like electrotherapy and lobotomy. Because Arthur disagreed with the human aspect of this treatment, he did a ton of research on mental health treatment and come out with a medicine for histamine. It was also during this time that Pfizer, a company that started as a chemical company that used to only sell medicine as part of its compound, was involved in World War II selling penicillins as a producer medicine. Now, this experience, they learned that since penicillin is not patented, everyone can make this medicine for cheap because nobody monopolized the medicine. So immediately after this, they started to hunt unpatented medicine that they could patent and sell at a much higher price, a practice that the pharmaceutical industry still do to this day. John Green video titled Johnson & Johnson is exactly because of this practice where they monopolize a cure for tuberculosis that is still considered a deadly disease not because we don't have the cure, but because Johnson & Johnson patented and monopolized the medicine and gave it an affordable price for a lot of people. Pfizer patented so many drugs but did not know how to sell them, and it was during this time that Arthur Sackler comes in. Arthur advertised the hell out of Pfizer products, earning so much money that he became the president of the advertising agency William Douglas McAdam Inc. The success also caused a complicated mess where the people who made this medicine and the people who sells them, because this hellish fusion that will skyrocket the price of medicine in the future. The ads was also so successful that a lot of people to this day still believe that some brands on the same medicine have better quality than other brands because the marketing was just that powerful. At this time, Arthur also dated Marietta despite already married with 2 children. When he got her pregnant, he got a divorce and remarried with Marietta. At the office, he raised an open and inclusive space to work, which is quite ahead of the time, I guess. Hiring European refugees and even black people as long as they have the talent to do the work. Of course, it's not all from the goodness of his heart. Because they were refugees, he could pay them lower than the work he gave them and threaten to fire them and make sure they'll never get another job in the city since they're refugees. Forgetting the fate of his father already. Quickly it became known that he is someone who only does things as long as it only benefited him. The brothers also finally got out of Creedmoor after some problems, and they decided to create their own patent medicine company from a small company they purchased named Purdue Frederick. This while his medicine marketing is more successful than ever. In McAdams, he advertised Librium and Valium, a form of antidepressant that at the time became a back-to-back most sold drugs in the world. Every time someone goes to the doctor, they will be prescribed with one or both of them, either because they asked or because they were offered those drugs. That's how little they thought of giving them away to people at that time. Valium itself became the first medicine to get a record of selling $100 million sales figure. And they even marketed it as a non-addictive substance that will never be abused. It's of course something they said without scientific evidence, it's just so they can advertise the drug easier. They never did a single research on the issue of potential abuse on these 2 drugs actually, which of course will turn out to be very addictive as we've known it now. Librium, the one with the higher dosage per pill, was not even sold again as a counter-the-top medicine. Roche, the company that produced these 2 drugs, and Adam Sackler that advertised the drugs, both even fought again any move to regulate or test the drug even as evidence mounts against them because doing so will affect their bottom line, reduce the money that goes to their pocket. So the drugs continues unsupervised for decades. It was not until the patent of the drug expired that they agreed for the drugs to be regulated, which is convenient since at that time generic and cheaper version of the drug is allowed to be made anyway, so they'll have to reduce the price so it can compete with them. Some of these events are eerily similar to the later OxyContin epidemic that will come in the future as if a sign of an impending doom. And still, it's not enough for Arthur Sackler. During this time, besides advertisement, patent hunting, and being a doctor, he also made a weekly newspaper called Medicine Tribune, which of course are mostly filled with puff pieces to his own work in these areas that will benefit him the most, and he also gets to find the latest patent from his own newspaper funded by his subscriber. Even put ads in the newspaper to his own product. So his companies now become hellish pillars that supported each other. The drug company made medicine, the ad agency made soundbites for those drugs, and the newspaper churns out misinformation to support the ads. Arthur Sackler has become rich, and just like many other people who got into his status, he started to find a hobby in collecting expensive stuff. His choice of spending is in furniture, or more specifically, ancient Chinese furniture and also art. And as if to checkmark every stereotype checkbox, he also dabbled in philanthropy, but just to maximize his taxes. That's why a lot of museums got his name, because he asked them to put his name on them. And as if he doesn't have enough money yet, he started manipulating the FDA in order to sell antibiotics, which is quite dangerous because overusing antibiotics can make us develop antimicrobial resistance. It's where we become resistant to the drugs that are supposed to cure us. This is part of the book where John Lear comes in. He started suspecting all the medicine advertising because when he fact-checked the sound bites of every ads, a lot of them are not based on reality. At one point of his investigation, he teamed up with a senator named Keefe, and they found out that Henry Wells, a famous FDA director, sent his pitch to Pfizer for approval. That's where the term third era of antibiotics on one of his speeches is from the marketing department of Pfizer, not from Henry Wells himself, so that they can sell one of their drugs as the first third era antibiotics. It was not based on any research since it's only meant to be a good soundbite for ads, but unfortunately even all of this did not manage to get Arthur Sackler, and again, just like that time with Librium and Valium, he walked away scot-free. Arthur Sackler took a big third part of the book because of how much he is responsible for making the Sackler family into a giant industry the way it is. It was not until his lonely death that the book switched to the rest of the family that has grown to be some of the worst people. They fight over the inheritance in such a childish way that it is at the same time both pathetic and comedic. Purdue, their drug company that's been lurking in the background so far, started producing drugs by bypassing regulation more often. The Medicinal Tribune and newspaper started to be more blatant to spread misinformation to enhance their income, like the time they spread misinformation about generic version of meds being of lower quality to avoid further patent cliff, where medicine patents expired and generic more cheaper version of it then can be made, which naturally caused price drop due to competition. Then there's the using a legitimate study as an ad but taking it out of context, a practice still being done today, especially when there's a short contents. In the book, Purdue only used one study to help sell OxyContin. They claim that the study had more than 11,000 people and it was found that narcotics rarely cause addiction. It's only like 4 people out of those 11,000 that got addicted. What they didn't all mention is that they were all narcotic usage that are highly monitored and administered by doctors. The study only proved that there is a way to reduce risk of addiction with preparation, but Purdue quote them out of context and use it as an ad that there is no addiction. Just like John Lear at the beginning of this video who uncovered what Arthur Sackler are responsible for Valium, it was Barry Meyer this time that uncovered a lot of what OxyContin did, and what followed is a long litigious process of trying so hard to make the family and Purdue finally took responsibility, a much too hard work with all the hard evidence we have against them. But the result is as usual, an insignificant fine for the company while everyone got away scot-free once again with their money still intact. The only solace we had is that the whole truth came out during this trial and everyone now knows who the Sackler family are. The story reminds me of the Facebook book I read a while ago. The way these people raise themselves to success is honestly inspiring to hear despite knowing what it eventually led to. But these people like Mark Zuckerberg, Sheryl Sandberg, the Sackler family, all these people does not seem to know how to be rich in a way that some influencers just don't seem to know how to be famous. When he was young, he might have done some stupid things because he was young, and he did do a few things solely because it is the right thing to do. But when he got a lot more money and a lot more power, somewhere along the way he lost his conscience, forget about learning from guilt or even guilt himself, and then only dreams and aspiration become their driving force. For them, the people who become victims of their actions are not tragedies that they need to reflect upon, but a hassle that hopefully will go away without costing too much time and money. When Arthur Sackler caused the Librium and Valium epidemic, they was let go without any fine and they continued to be active in the industry. When he caused the antibiotics scam, he got away again scot-free. Because of this, they continued to escalate to the OxyContin epidemic. While they've paid some fine and Porto itself was taken off the family for the crime of causing the death of hundreds of thousands of people and ongoing, they are still one of the richest family there is. And Porto and a lot of pharmaceuticals still continues with their old ways, with this way. There might be a third repeat of Valium and Oxycontin epidemic down the line as long as we did not learn from these cases. So Sackler wanted to be remembered as heroes, like the founding fathers of America. But even those images of heroes are mostly an illusion that history did not fully depict. So I guess there is an ironic justice that if anyone should remember Arthur Sackler and the dynasty he built, they should be remembered as scums of society, as people who built this empire of pain. And this kind of really well-written book can help with that because it is such an amazingly detailed journey into not just the life of Arthur Sackler and the awful dynasty he built, but also into the dark world of pharmaceutical lobbying. It shows that this kind of cases is never a one-time thing, and it shows that bad things are not happening hidden behind shadow, but by bad people doing bad things in bright daylight and trying to twist the truth openly and getting away with it. The Sackler family and Purdue is not the only people or companies that are doing the evils described in the book after all. Even if you don't care about the Sackler family or the opioid crisis in America, it still shows you how the medicine world become as it is. How vitamin and fish oil can be marketed as supplement and can make everyone healthier, despite many counter evidence that tells a different truth. It shows that the problem of medicine misinformation, like a lot of misinformation, is not in the science, it's in the marketing. It's misinformation marketing that is still widely popular even to this day, and educating ourselves through books like this is at times might be the only tools that we can have to protect ourselves. I give this a 5. What do you think? Are you gonna read it? Did I miss anything? Leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it.